You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are here now in the winners' finals of the Invitational. We've got Child Roland on Stone Scar Burn, fresh off his victory in the event last weekend. Angry Chicken, Big Combre, little different, the classic chicken spice, fresh off his victory in the last Invitational. This is really a showdown between Titans here, and they're both undefeated.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a really interesting matchup. If Child Roland wins this one, he'll go on to face the Feln deck that we've seen a lot of interesting things going on with. So I'm kind of excited for that possibility, but at the same time, Angry Chicken has a decent matchup here. The Stone Scar Bird deck is typically designed to take advantage of the slower style decks, but Angry Chicken is actually not playing that slow of a deck. He's playing 4 Harsh Rules, he's playing 2 Healer's Cloaks in the main board. He's playing 4 Combre Healers and 4 Knight Chancellor Seraphs. Everything is really, really aggressive early on. And the Awakened Students and Desert Marshal, basically he'll be presenting good blockers and still getting that late game advantage out of Mystic Ascendant and Reality Warden. But whether or not he can survive against Stone Scar Burn is really going to depend on whether or not he can make a fully realized curve happen.
Yeah, he came prepared for this matchup. Like, Awakened Students for bigger early blockers, Reality Warden, like, how does Stone Scar kill that? Healer's Cloak, main deck? Are you serious? Like, I think that Angry Chicken is probably substantially favored here. So let's hop in and see how it goes.
Yeah, we're looking at time schedule first. Looks like Angry Chicken does have the Awakened Student available as a first turn play. That's really strong for him. Roland is playing out Pyro Knight immediately.
Yeah, and Chicken has the Awakened Student to answer. I'm not sure if he even blocks here, because if he doesn't block, it can get out of range next turn. Yeah, he just takes it.
Some potentially good value here. If your opponent has a torch, they'll probably throw it on the Awakened Student immediately anyways, so he can just sit. So having a 3/3 blocker is good, and being able to deal with the units with a Desert Marshal is also quite good. So I think he's not looking to be in any trouble for the next couple of turns. And indeed, he's even going to press the aggro.
Wow, I guess he has Desert Marshal followed up with a Sandstorm Titan. Like,
no,
Child Roland does have the Annihilate for the Titan, so
this does work out pretty well. Like there are situations where you really just want to be aggressive against the Stone Scar deck, and Awakened Student can really generate that kind of presence. Since Desert Marshal basically answers that sort of setup, like he's not worried about any sort of other attacker this turn, so there's no reason not to hit with the 3/3, especially if he wants to save that and make it a 4/4.
Yeah, and here comes a champion. So like Chicken could just vanquish that, or he could just wait. It has the overwhelm, not the deadly. So yeah, this champion of chaos kind of gets embarrassed by these Sandstorm Titans. You need to spend his whole next turn rapid shotting in order to win that combat.
Choose to vanquish means he doesn't get to set up Sandstorm Titans as blockers, but they are annihilatable, so it seems pretty relevant to take the champion off of the table in case there are other threats. And now he can generate a 5/5 blocker in addition to a Sandstorm Titan. I don't think there's any situation where Chicken's not happy with his current aggro.
Yeah, Chicken he's the most aggressive big combo player I've ever seen, and he kind of built his deck to play to that style today, like with the no Temple Scribes, instead playing these Awakened Students. Like, this Awakened Student has dealt 12 damage already. Like, he's beating down the Stone Scar Burn deck.
I really think the Chicken shouldn't be getting away with calling this deck Big Combre. It's definitely mid-range. It's the only thing above 5 is Mystic Ascendant, and that's just at the top to draw some extra cards. He's playing Great Parliament and Seraph, and those create big Combre options, but this is very mid-range.
Yeah, I'd agree with that assessment. Like, the amount of damage that he can put out early on with these Awakened Students and the Reality Wardens instead of Iron Thorns. Like, Iron Thorn you want to play on 6 and play a power to like ramp up for like bigger Ascendants and Parliaments and stuff. Reality Warden, you just want to play on 5 and smash with it. Like, it's a 7/7.
Roland offering up an attack in order to get a Torch plus Champion, and Angry Chicken shooting it down in favor of lethal. Really, really good play. Pushing that aggression just means that the Stone Scar deck never ever gets to get to the Flame Blasts, and when you aren't getting to your Flame Blasts or obliterates,
I'm probably feeling kind of silly about that. He attacks and leaves himself dead on board, and is like, oh, whoops. I guess sometimes the combo deck doesn't have to block, and they can just kill me right back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the attack might have been right. I'm not sure if there was like a way that he could have won without chicken blocking. So, yeah, it was pretty rough. And now we're going to go ahead and see what happens next.
Yeah, so no sideboards here, moving straight to game 2. So should be starting off right away. And oh, baby, Angry Chicken with the Healer's Cloak in his opening hand. And, he's choosing to keep even though there's no justice.
That's tricky. That's really, I'm not certain about that. Healer's Cloak is a star card against this deck, but he can't cast anything in his hand. And
We'll see if there's any justice in the world. And by that, I mean Angry Chicken getting punished for his really greedy keep.
Yeah, I would say if there is justice in the world, Angry Chicken will not receive his justice. You don't keep a hand like this and get away with it. So at the very least, he doesn't get Awakened Student on 2. He's probably going to lose this just off of his mulligan choice.
Yeah, he has to have a justice like right now, or he is dead. But
Okay,
he finds it. Oh my god.
I mean, that's still not really all that strong for him. He gets to Healer's Cloak a Awakened Student, but the harsh rollout. At least being able to play Vanquish here is very strong because Child Roland is not pressing that much damage with just a 3/3.
Yeah, so Chicken goes down to 19. He can play a 3/3 student and a 2/2 student next turn.
Yeah. Awakened Student into Awakened Student is really good. Find the Way is definitely a card that Chicken wanted to pick up. I mean, if there are 4 Find the Ways there's actually only 2 Find the Ways, but 4 Seek Powers and 2 Find the Ways gives him a better chance of drawing green. His overall green count is slightly lower than his Time Sigil count, so I think he had a decent chance of getting this draw, but it was still a pretty heavy risk.
Yeah, so now he just has to decide whether he wants to marshal or student or find the way. And so find the way doesn't guarantee harsh rule next turn. To hold up Desert Marshal, which is going to work pretty well against this Cabal Countess. Like Countess doesn't have a great attack unless it ultimates. But then if it ultimates, Angry Chicken can play the Desert Marshal and then Roland wasted his whole turn ultimating that. Or he can just use the Suffocate.
Yeah, this looks really good now. Suffocate plus he has to spend 7 power on this Cabal Countess, and all of it goes away with the Desert Marshal. Angry Chicken was very smart to read that play. He knew that the card was coming down, and he just played around it.
Yeah, so Roland opted to ultimate that Countess instead of playing the Impending Doom, mostly to play around Harsh Rule. But because of that Desert Marshal, now he doesn't have enough pressure on board to hold back the Impending Doom anymore, so it's going to get eaten up by Harsh Rule anyways next turn.
Chicken opts to play the Awakened Student rather than do a Harsh Rule or a Healer's Cloak. And from here, he can be aggressive if he wants to, but more likely he's going to block and just set up for a Harsh Rule against Roland's remaining cards.
He doesn't know about the Impending Doom. I think he actually takes it and plans to like power plus cloak to gain 6 next turn and race. But then as soon as Roland plays this Impending Doom, yeah, he's gonna have to play this Harsh Rule.
So that puts Chicken behind. Although with double Healer's Cloak, I think he might be able to continue the racing plan. A 6/6 that gains 6 and then gains 8 and is an 8/8. That's a pretty
yeah.
decent
He'll be out of obliterate range this turn, and then yeah, I guess he could go on the double Healer's Cloak plan. This is quite something. This is a pre-sideboard game.
6, then he loses to obliterate. He could run into some problems, but he's only going to go down to 8, so he's above obliterate, he's above flame blast, and he can continue to just Healer's Cloak away. I think that is probably the better play, just because if you Harsh Rule here, you're in such trouble.
Yeah, he would have to draw another sizable unit immediately. And he can gain 15 over the next 2 turns. Like next turn, he can find the way plus Healer's Cloak, even if he draws nothing.
All right,
it looks like he's going to Harsh Rule, though.
So he's going to take the Harsh Rule. He's going to rely on Angry Chicken having a lot of faith in his deck. Like there's been some heart of the cards stuff going on here.
Yeah, for sure. Keeping that no justice hand. Now Harsh Ruling with 2 Healer's Cloaks and no units in hand.
Yeah, Roland can now win off of a pull of Obliterate. And he's got Quarry to pull for better cards. Throws an Impending Doom. I don't see what he's picked up yet, but it's probably something good if he tosses an Impending Doom out.
It was a champion of chaos. Okay.
Okay,
That's
kinda like
quite the
that.
threat.
Yeah, it's quite scary. Chicken does not have a unit, does not have a spell. So wins the game next turn, or in 2 turns. And Chicken has to draw a unit.
Ornate Katana. Chicken going to
At,
1.
at this point, Chicken has to draw a unit and play a Healer's Cloak on it, and Vanquish is sort of good enough.
Yeah, if
Roland's
Child Roland
outs are...
doesn't draw burn and Chicken draws a unit. All right, Oni Ronin.
There's the Awakened student, so that's 3 plus 5.
Oh, so he's still dead to Obliterate here, or Flame Blast.
Still dead
but
to Obliterate. A lot of burn. What did Roland pick up?
A Pyronite. That's a 6/5.
It's not bad. Harsh Rule here.
I like just gaining 7 here, I think.
Gaining 7 definitely seems like the play. And then do you defend? Do you attack? Angry Chicken can definitely stabilize here at the very least. He's managed to get a decent amount of health gain. He's managed to race pretty well. Roland can still pick up and Obliterate and really make some nasty things happen. I think Flame Blast, however, is really what he needs to play here. Kill an 8/8 or a 7/7 Awakened student.
Yeah, I think if you Harsh Rule here, you're just dead to too many things. I think that you have to put the cloak on and then defend. You can't attack because you just get attacked back and die in 2 turns, whereas you don't have him on anything near a 2-turn clock. Plus, Roland can hold back the Oni Ronin to block for a turn if necessary. I think it's cloak and pass.
Yep, that seems like what it needs to be. He needs Roland's draws to not be good, and he needs his own draws to be good as well. Like, this is just really, really rough. Impending Doom.
Ooh, Impending Doom is
pushes damage.
Quite the threat. So I guess it's Harsh Rule time now.
Okay, that attack is really interesting.
Yep. That's definitely indicative of Harsh Rule.
Wait. Oh, yeah, I guess he is indicating Harsh Rule, so you have to take that block even though you're setting up for lethal if you don't. So board wipes again. Roll into a burn spell.
Ooh, Protect?
Chicken picks up Protect, yeah. That's really, really solid.
Well, Protect doesn't help against Champion of Chaos, though. Oh, but that is Seraph. This game is crazy.
Yeah, Seraph is going to be pushing a unit every turn. It might just block here, but it seems very unlikely. If Roland hits, or if he hits Steadfast Deputy or a Tinker Apprentice, if he hits any sort of 1-drop unit, then Champion continues to be aggressive.
Like Super good play here. I was hoping Chicken would do this. Protecting his own face end of turn. This lets him Seraph without dying to an Obliterate next turn.
Oh, now all that Roland needs to pick up is an Argenport Instigator. If Chicken uses his ability here, yep.
Ooh, a unit that doesn't even block and survive.
Yeah, there are quite a few of those to hit, so that was really, really tricky. And there's the Instigator that isn't lethal, but it's close enough.
Yeah, Chicken concedes. He could have won if he hit Roland's Honor Guard off of a Seraph activation next turn. Because normally when you have Instigator plus Champion of Chaos, you're taking 5 no matter what, right? Because like the Overwhelm plus the Deadly, so they take 1 for each unit that blocked. But since Chicken had a face Aegis, he would have survived at 1 if he had blocked.
Yeah, he conceded a turn early. So yeah, I think Chicken made some misplays that game, or at least he was very reliant on luck to get him through. And that's really just, that was a really intense game. A lot of interesting things going on, and we're going to see the sideboards now, and we're going to see if Chicken can sideboard out against this more aggressive burn deck.
Yeah, that game was crazy. So we're 1-1 going into the sideboard games here. So I would assume that Child Roland's going to bring in his Soulfire Drakes again, Annihilate probably. Angry Chicken has not a whole lot, like maybe Temple Scribe, take out some of the top end.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tricky, and we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of interesting options. I'm not 100% certain on what it can be run in here. We could see the Sabotages being thrown in. We could see a lot of other choices to just keep his deck low to the ground, keep the same like sort of aggressive plan that he has before and just roll in more protects, be a little bit better off on the defense.
Yeah, I think there's going to be relatively minor changes from both sides here. So, all right,
Yeah,
here
Chicken's
we
pretty
are.
likely to cycle in those Temple Scribes and maybe even the Stand Togethers, but we are heading into the game, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, I don't like Stand Together from the Cambrai side in this matchup. It's just so slow. It's just like such a clunky card. Protect is definitely where you want to be at, and both of Angry Chicken's protects are in the main. Oh, looks like Child Roland went even more aggressive, boarding in these Grenadin drones and then drawing both copies in his opening hand.
I like this. It's a good go-wide strategy. It certainly helps out against the Queen decks. Grenadin drones are not typically amazing in Queen decks just because of the way that they just aren't very valuable unless you have the Queen. But in Cambrai matchups, going wide is actually really effective.
Yeah, certainly making his Desert Marshals look silly. What is he going to do? Trade with a 1/1?
In this deck already. He's the only burn deck running Ornate Katana, which is a card that actually goes very well on Grenadins. Chicken is actually he's forced to throw a Desert Marshal out in front of one of these 1/1s.
Ooh,
And he doesn't
interesting
even
play
get to
here.
silence
He
it.
doesn't silence, so that Roland doesn't get the chance to like torch it before it can block. Like there's no stop if you don't silence an opponent's unit.
Yep. So we see the Champion of Chaos come down, and a Valkyrie Enforcer will trade with that. But Chicken's still got a lot of damage that he has to deal with very quickly.
So Child Roland really had no choice but to play a 3/3 champion there. But it's actually, even if you have the option, a smart play to do against Cambrai because they had played Vanquish but not Suffocate. So if you play it as a 3/3, then play the power to buff it the next turn, it gets a 1 attack in before it can get vanquished. Just kind of a cool little trick that rarely comes up, but is nice to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, we see a Pyro Knight come down next, so still a lot of go wide. Angry Chicken has a silence for it through the Desert Marshal, but he's mostly just looking for that Throne Warden to help him stay alive in the long game. Roland, in the meantime, needs to pull a Bandit Queen, or he just needs to get the value that he can get out of the Flame Blast if possible.
Yeah, so Chicken likely blocks the Pyro Knight with Desert Marshal this turn, going down to 8, and then plays the Reality Warden, goes down to 5. So he's dead if Child Roland ever gets up to 5 power for this Flame Blast.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a pretty solid setup. I mean, this is just exactly what you want to do. You're going to go underneath the Cambrai deck and just be even more aggressive than you already were. Chicken does side in these Temple Scribes. They're actually pretty useful against the Grenadin, and they do gain him a little bit of health, but I don't know that he wants one of those over a Reality Warden.
Yeah, if he played it, he like isn't even playing around Obliterate, and nonetheless, it also just doesn't matter to play around Obliterate because Roland has been stuck on 3 for several turns. So I think that playing those 7/7 is definitely correct.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for him, and we see a 3 attack. Roland can get the Flame Blast down. He's got another Grenadin drone in hand, which is a bit more damage pushed.
He drew all 3 copies.
Not having the
from
Flame
his
Blast here
sideboard.
hurts, but like he's so close to lethal already. It's really, really hard for him to lose this game, even if he doesn't find the triple red for Flame Blast.
Yeah, I mean, he's either drawing power that makes his Flame Blast good, or he's drawing other stuff. Like, the only bad draws for Roland are, like, Impending Dooms.
Yeah, the thing that really hurts here is if Chicken picks up a Healer's Cloak, that's going to be 9 health gained. He's got the Protect against the Flame Blast, so this is now looking pretty bad.
All right, yeah, I think
does
Angry
turn
Chicken
the board around.
stabilized the ground.
Stabilizes the ground and stabilizes his board in one go. We see an Annihilate here. One less blocker is one less blocker.
Pause. Whoa, protects a 1/1.
I think it might be right, although he doesn't know that there's 2 Flame Blasts in hand for Roland. So this is...
he's playing around Bandit Queen. This way he can block against a Bandit Queen and survive. No, he's still dead to Bandit Queen. I don't know what that protect was about.
I mean, it's 3 damage from Roland from the attacks if he loses the 1/1. So Roland's pretty likely to not attack into this situation, where he would attack into the other situation, since it would be 3 and then 2.
Oh, yes. Also plays around Torch, I suppose.
A Temple Scribe gaining another health. Bandit Queen now defending. Like, that was a good protect, assuming you don't know about the overall setup. Oh my goodness. Countess into Bandit Queen. Everything's got quick draw. Everything's at his face. He has to block everywhere that he can. He's going to lose...
He's going to go down to 1 here and lose both of his 1/1s.
Everything but Seraph, yeah.
Powerful sequence of draws from Child Roland.
The Temple Scribes have been saving him. He can throw an ultimate here and try and get a Lumen Defender.
Yep, Lumen Defender or Roland's Honor Guard, but just a fortunate stranger, unfortunately, for Angry Chicken.
It's a free card, at least, but no, unfortunately, it's not enough to save him, and Child Roland wins this without the Flame Blasts.
To get up to 5 to win that game. So Child Roland now up 2-1. Angry Chicken needs to win 2 games in a row. So we'll see if these Protects and Healer's Cloaks can come through for him, or whether the Bandit Queens and the Flame Blast will prevail.
Yeah, he's playing to survive, and with any luck he will, but it's going to be a tough matchup. Curious about those Temple Scribes as sideboards. I'm wondering if they're going to be enough value for the deck in general. Like, Angry Chicken really wants to be aggressive, and so like playing more aggressively has generally helped him here. It feels like he's moved to a slightly slower version of his deck with the Temple Scribes. They are really helpful against the Grenadin drones and other cards, but they're also fairly low impact. It's curious.
I think he just wants anything instead of Mystic Ascendant. Like, he just wants to get low to the ground. You're never going to play that 6/7 drop card effectively against Burn Queen.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that like the card is very valuable, and in many ways it's just better than Mystic Ascendant, so it's a good swap in. It's just an interesting consideration as to whether the sideboard card is affecting him well, whether it was worth having it in the sideboard in the first place, or if he should be going for some other 2-drop or 3-drop. I don't think that he's wrong. I think that is
option. Like, what else do you have as interesting Temple Scribe? Like,
you never know. Yeah, like it's just an interesting bit of a theory. So it's something to consider. But certainly this seems like a decent enough choice, and
we did bring in the
see it happen
together.
to great effect this game. Like, it was very helpful for him. Roland not playing his 3-drop. He's got to play Cabal Countess instead. This usually just opens Angry Chicken up to set up a Desert Marshal, but now that we've seen the Valkyrie Enforcer, we know that it's not there.
It's very interesting to me that Chicken brought in the Stand together. So I've never been a big fan of that card against Stone Scar, since generally if they're burning your units, they're already going to win. So I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I think Chicken was looking to push really hard with his Awakened students, similar to the last couple of games that he won, but unfortunately he hasn't seen those Awakened students this time around, which makes the Stand together a lot worse. At this point, he's really...
in this situation?
Yeah, this is rocking a hard place. Much out of this. He can kill a Bandit Queen or the Cabal Countess, which is a really serious threat for him. Probably not the Cabal Countess. It might actually be better to kill the Argenport Instigator, just because he can get the other 2 with a Desert Marshal. Yeah,
that's a good point. If Child Roland ultimates the Countess, Desert Marshal embarrasses that, as we saw in one of the earlier games this series. So yeah, I guess I agree with killing the Argenport Instigator there.
Yep, he's got a Protect here, so he'll be able to easily double block, stay above 16 when both attacks come in, and just stay there at that particular level of health. That's pretty good, and if Roland spends the turn trying to set up the Cabal Countess, even better, but a second Bandit Queen makes this a lot harder.
Yes. So Angry Chicken is sitting on all of this Aegis when Child Roland's on the all-unit draw, just really kind of showing the old adage, there are no wrong threats, only wrong answers.
At this point, I think he double blocks and sets up the Harsh Rule, but Roland continues to have good stuff against that. Like, he's got 2 more units in play, and Chicken's guaranteed to Harsh Rule this turn. So after the Harsh Rule, Roland will restock the board. Chicken will have nothing but Protects, and it's not going to help against what Roland's currently running.
Yeah, Impending Doom, Champion of Chaos. Even an Oni Ronin, so he gets to use up all his power this turn. This is just... it's looking like a Child Roland game here.
Yep, Chicken can play 2 units down. That'll set him up decently, but it won't stop the Impending Doom from coming in. Having the Protect means that he essentially just has an extra 6 health against Obliterate, as long as he uses it for that specific purpose. So it's not unreasonable to just silence the Warcry here and stay defensive for a little bit, try and find a better answer to Doom.
Yeah, so Ice Chicken's going to go down to 7 here.
Yep, goes down to 7. again, like that's not a hard number since he knows that he's going to have the answer to Flame Blast, but a 9 here.
Oh, yeah, just rapid shot face.
All the damage he can. And he knows that Champion of Chaos can get there, so I don't know that Chicken has an out here. Combat Healer gets him at 6.
Yeah, so he can give that buff to the Valkyrie Enforcer and block the Impending Doom, and then he can double block the champion and go to... Okay, we'll go to 1 now.
Yep, going to 1, taking 5 damage. Needs to find another answer, and it needs to be one that he can play while keeping Protect up, most likely.
Yeah, he can also just protect his face end of turn. Whoa, Child rolling with the pause with the torch. So now Chicken must hold up Protect at literally all times or he instantly loses.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is Chicken's pause or Roland's pause, but either way, we know that the torch is there.
They're playing a little game of chicken here.
Indeed.
And Angry Chicken does protect himself, so Roland is going to be able to torch him for lethal here.
Oof.
So Angry Chicken is being sent to losers finals.
Yep, that knocks him out, and we're going to see Burn versus Feln, which is a matchup I'm pretty excited about. So, yeah, some minor mistakes from Chicken, I think, early in the game cost him one of those matchups.
Roland is actually in grand finals now. He's waiting for the losers bracket to resolve itself.
The Chicken's Feln versus, or Chicken's Combre versus the Feln. So yeah,
versus the winner of our next match, actually, which is Lunex Tiger.
Okay.
Yeah. So be sure to stay tuned, everyone. We got only a few more matches left here. We're gonna determine the invitational champion.
Neat. See you then, folks.